Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Tuesday. Had to think about it. And for the astute observers out there, you're probably going, hey, they're in the same clothes as Monday. Could both of their spouses have kicked them out on the same night? And no, that's not the case at all. We're recording this in advance because Bob's enjoying a day of golf out of town.
Are we the third person now?
Yeah.
You just didn't want to say I'm out of town, right? You didn't want to place it on you?
That's it. Yes, I wanted to third person that to save me the ridicule that could possibly come.
That was actually kind of funny. He was like that.
So here we are, Tom. Our topic is joy.
That's the topic for the week. Absolutely. That's our discussion for the week. It's one of those things that I think, well, we've been talking over the last few weeks, is sometimes a thing that's missing within our business and our work life. And especially over the last, however long, year plus, and I think for many, it's been longer than that. I think the pandemic only brought to life some of the lack of joy that people have had in their work and in what they're doing and the challenges that they have faced. And so I think that it's great that we decided to have this discussion and think about that. That we talked about faith last week. And I think that's, again, some of those things that we forget about. So the conversation about joy, and today we're going to talk about why it matters. And I think that, one of the things we've come up with that will hopefully help people understand why joy is important is our summer of celebration. So do you want to tell people a little bit about that, Bob?
Sure, I'd love to, Tom. So every single day, starting on Memorial Day and going through Labor Day, that's right, May 31st to September 6th, we are going to challenge you to use the hashtag Summer of Celebration in our Ring of Renegades Facebook group and celebrate something going on in your life. It can be business, it can be personal, it can be both, it can be your family, it can be all three. Whatever, every day, just coming up with something that you can celebrate. Celebrating that simple thing each day. And the time it takes you to find that thing, I have found, we've started this a couple days beforehand, I'm finding it's easier and easier. That it was like, oh, what can I write about today? What can I post today? Now I've got a list of like 5 of them. I could probably map out the next 90 days without trying because I'm starting to look for reasons to celebrate. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
And I think everybody has to look at it differently. It's interesting. One of the, sometimes I think people struggle with that because they think it's like bragging. They think that's a negative. They concerned that they're talking too much about themselves. And I think that, one of the things that happens is that when you share what's going on within your life, others will want to share what's going on in theirs and they may be desperate for some good news of information because they're struggling with something. And so when they see it in others, they see, well, maybe if they can do that, maybe I can find something that will bring that to light for me. And one of my coach's big things is, and I don't know whether she came up with this or she learned it from someone else, is about letting your light shine and how that may show the way for someone else. And I think that when we think about it that way, that really us sharing what is going on within our lives and the celebrations that we're having does sometimes show light to someone else. That they may say, oh, you know what? That might work for me. Or if I take some little piece of that, I might be able to then use that to move forward. And so I think it's, that's what I love about it so much. And I think, like you said, once we start identifying one, we come up with a whole host of things that we can be supportive of. So whether you want to look at it as gratitude, whether you want to look at it as celebration, I think it is a great opportunity for the community to better understand what goes on with people. What are the things that they're having success or that they are grateful for? And I hope and truly believe that it will help others identify the things that they are celebrating as well throughout the summer. So,
and also we'll get to know each other better, because when you see what other people, did you say that?
Say that?
I'm sorry. I was
right.
I was actually writing my celebration for the morning. As
I could hear you typing.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized that I wasn't gonna be in a place where I could do it easily later. So I wanted to make sure I got logged. And just to give people an example, what I said, just so you can see how it doesn't have to be earth-shattering, celebrating that I can spend a few days playing golf and not working much. And a lot goes into that I make enough money that I can do that. I can manage my schedule in a way that I can do that I can find a person that wants to play golf with me, who brings me incredible joy when we get together. There's a whole lot embedded in that simple sentence. And I think that's the part that when we start to think about that, and if someone said to me, hey, tell me more about that, I'd be happy to share what that is for me. And they might go, oh, wow, you get that from golf. I get that from fishing or from, crocheting or whatever. It doesn't matter. And I think that's where we start to really build the community, is when you start to understand what's behind the mask of business that makes people tick, And so if you're going to call me and go, hey, Bob, I want to sell you my widgets, I've just given you a golden opportunity. Ask me about my golf.
Right.
And then we're off to the races, just showing you care about that. So within this community, that's part of what I like about this. And also the way what you celebrate might inspire me to think about something you celebrate that I never thought of celebrating. Like I'm sure there's someone who's going to be like, yeah, golf. Okay. I never really thought about that as a celebration, but yeah, I guess it really is. Yeah. Huh. Never knew that.
Sure. Or the fact that you can celebrate that you control your time.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, huh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have ever thought of that as a celebration. And now that I think about it, that is something that I want to celebrate. Or it might be like, well, why am I not controlling my time? Why am I not better leveraging that ability that I have created to be able to do what I want to do? So I think it's going to be a great summer of every day just learning what people are celebrating. And I think, like you said, is that once you share one piece of it, there's a whole lot of things wrapped up in a celebration that you then are like, that's true. And not only do I get to do this, this brings this, and this. And I think a lot of that celebration is one of the things that helps us bring joy. We talked a little bit about yesterday what joy is. And today we're going to discuss why it matters. And I think specifically why it matters within your business and professional life. Because I think we all know why joy matters in our personal life. Maybe we don't. So maybe that will come into it. And I think that there is an opportunity to have it in our business and professional life. So do you want to share some thoughts on that, Bob?
Yeah, I hit the wrong screen. Sorry. I think why it's important in our business and our personal life is that we work hard. I mean, I work really hard. And if I don't take the time to celebrate, to find joy in it, it's work. And so to me, the balance is, for the hard days, I want to have the days where I just go, wow, this is amazing. I've done so much. I'm changing lives. I'm figuring out the way to be in the world that's unique to me. That to me is worth all the days where it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm never going to get another customer. My bank account looks really bleak. All those things, that's the opposite of joy, right? It's frustration, it's fear, it's worry, it's all those things. So to me, the positive is joy. And I think if you can find joy in little things, I got my first customer, or I had a successful call. The person actually listened long enough for me to explain what I do. I went through that with someone last year, and I was like, they were afraid to make calls. They made a call, and they're like, it worked the way you said. And like 20 minutes in, they're like, so tell me exactly what you do. And he said they were genuinely curious. And he said it was so exciting to have someone actually want to hear what he was talking about, because he had done the preliminary work to understand where the person was coming from. And it brought him joy once I explained to him, because he was like, well, I didn't make a sale. And I was like, no, you made a relationship. The sale may or may not come, but you made a relationship. And I said, you should take joy in the fact that you did something that you didn't think you could do. And you got the result that you wanted, which was someone to pay attention to you. And the person was like, that's amazing. I love what you do. And that was the first validation that he had gotten for what he was doing, outside of, the usual friends and family that have to say nice things. And and he didn't even recognize it for that. I had to help him see that. Hey, you're missing the meaning here. He was so, as we've been saying, as you say really well, he was focused on the result. Mm-hmm. It didn't lead to a sale. I was focusing on, here's where you started. Here's where you are now. The sale may or may not come. I don't care about it. Sales are going to come. And this person, and you and I have both worked with this person, has gone a long way since then.
That's great. Yeah, I think, as I think about, why it matters, I think it's hard to keep moving forward if there's no joy. You do it almost reluctantly rather than excitedly about this is how it can happen. And I think that when we're more excited about what we're doing and the possibilities that lie within those things, we have the opportunity, and it's easier for us to move forward. And I think that's, again, that's just like you were talking about. That's why it's so hard when you focus on results. Again, you can't control them, which we've talked about a lot over the last few weeks. And when you look at them, when you look at that, the expectation, the result as not meeting whatever the expectation or result was, doesn't bring much joy. And if you can celebrate the action that you took, I think it's easier to do the next action. You want to do the next one to find out, okay, what is that result and how does that change? It's interesting. One of the things that I will never forget, and I think I was maybe 3 years into my professional life, and we were doing one of those retreats with the team that I was a part of. And we were asked to list like all the things that were important for us about working where we were working. And one of the things I said was having fun. And there was a guy who actually was a really good mentor to me in a lot of ways. And he was like, work is not about fun. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I was working with someone last week, thinking about an opportunity they had together and how that relationship might look like. And both of them separately shared that fun was one of the top 3 things that they wanted to have. And I think that one of the reasons that's so important is when you have fun, you want to, as a group, be together. You want to figure out and take whatever the next step is, because let's see, like, hey, we had a good time doing this. What might it look like when we do the next one and the next one and the next one? And think how great it will be when all of those things line up together. And for the person you were talking about, they get the sale, they get the client. You're like, wow, that took a lot of things to get there. And look how great it is once we got there. How can we do that again? So I think it matters because I think it drives us. It gets us excited about what we're doing and why we're doing it, and wanting the next thing. And so even though we know it's going to take time, effort, and energy, it's worth that to get to the point where we can, again, celebrate and be excited about, yeah, we did get the result that we wanted. It took a lot of work. We didn't really focus on the result at one point. We focused on the actions. And then it's like super bonus whipped cream on your milkshake, even better when you get that result that you were thinking about, that you expected to come, even though you weren't focused on that. I just think it overall makes things a little bit easier.
It occurs to me that there's another component of why joy matters. And I would tell you, if you gave me a choice of working with someone who has joy in what they do or someone who doesn't, I'm going to gravitate to that person who brings joy to what they do, who sees joy, who is eager and excited to embrace the day and get at it in a way that, the person like, well, I'm kind of half retired now and I don't really do much business. That doesn't really inspire me in the way that the person goes, hey, so I was looking at your website. You're doing some really cool stuff, Bob. Tell me what got you into this. Like, whoa, they bring that joy to it. And it's not just, I looked at your website to get a sale. I looked at your website and I'm genuinely interested in what makes you tick. And they get joy in just meeting people.
Sure.
And just figuring out, hey, maybe I have a tidbit that I can share with you. Maybe I have something you can buy from me. Maybe I know someone that could help you. Maybe we're both, I don't know, Carolina Hurricane fans. Who knows? No telling. But
you never know.
But with joy, it's different than if you go, so Bob, tell me what you really like to do when you're not working. Who's going to answer that versus, hey, Bob, I heard you talk about golf. So what's your favorite golf course? What's your favorite club? What makes you really excited on the golf course? Oh, anytime I make a 30-foot putt. Oh, have you made a 30-foot putt? Not in the last 5 years. That kind of discussion is what leads to business. And Tom, that's what we do in our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, Renegade Roundup, which we have one coming up May 27th. That's this Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's what we do. We try to give people, and I will almost guarantee we're going to talk about joy at that. We're going to ask people probably a question around the idea of what brings you joy. And that's what starts the discussion, because someone's going to say, oh, spending time with my grandchildren. And that's going to be, oh, tell me about your grandchildren. That's how you form a relationship, not a transaction, but a relationship. And if you form that relationship, that's when the person takes your call a week or two or 6 months later and you go, hey, so how are your grandchildren?
Right.
And the person lights up. And then they're like, so why'd you call? Well, I want to talk to you. I have something that might really help you. They will listen to you in that way. That is something Tom and I advocate and something Tom and I are trying to teach people to do, to focus on that relationship building. And that Ring of Renegades, Renegade Roundup, Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern is your opportunity. We'll model it and we'll show you how easy and how much fun it is. And it brings me joy each time we do it.
I like that. So I'm going to share my one thing, if that's all right, because I was thinking about it while you were talking. And, as we talk about why it matters, when you brought up golf, it struck me that golf is a hard game. It's not easy. And usually the results are challenging, even for the best players.
Yes.
They can struggle. And when you hit that shot perfectly, and it goes exactly where you want it to go and the trajectory you want it to go, and the feel is so, there is a joy in that makes up for all the other hard stuff that's going on, for all the other shots that you struggle with. Like, why, people would ask, like, why do you go out and beat yourself up? Par, which is what you're supposed to shoot, I guess, is the way to look at it. Not many people do. Yeah, so par 70 and you shot 95. You shot 102. Like, why are you going out there to do this? And I think sometimes, just like business is hard. Why do you go in and work hard? I work hard because there are some results that are really worth having. And to me, there is nothing better than hitting a shot that just feels as close to perfect as anything you can do. And there is that, if you've ever played, it's that there's a feeling of, I hit that ball exactly the way I want it to. Now, the results might not be perfect because the ball bounces and there might be wind and all this. Doesn't matter. And there's a joy in like, that's exactly the way I want to do it. And I think it brings you back. It's like, why do you go back and torture yourself for 4 hours, to hit the ball in the sand, and you hit one you thought was good in the water. And sometimes it's because of that one shot that you're like, that's exactly what I want to do. Now, how do I repeat that? And I think that relates to what we're talking about in business, right?
It's one perfect sales call, one perfect meeting, one perfect implementation of something, one perfect team meeting.
And I would say it's not perfect. I would say it's what.
Well, you said the one perfect shot. So I was just playing off of what you said.
Correct.
How about successful?
Well, I think you think it's as close to perfection as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I think perfection is unachievable because you can always do something a little bit better, a little bit differently.
I don't know. I think we got this thing working perfectly, Tom.
You don't think there's anything we could change to make this better? So that's my one thing.
So if you've got a list of things we could do to make this better, please start that right down the Facebook page. We'd love to get your feedback.
You would hate that, wouldn't you?
I would, in the moment, hate it passionately, but in the long run, appreciate it greatly. And it would bring me joy to realize that people care that much about what we're doing.
It would be interesting if we put that in the ring. Like, what are the things we should do different in here? And to see what the results were.
I can picture 450 people or more going, I don't know what you're talking about.
Probably true. So what's your one thing, Bob, about joy and why it matters?
I think it's hard to put I'm trying to find the words. If we don't bring joy to what we do, it's work. And I think that translates to people not being excited or interested in what we're doing. One of the things I think really helps entrepreneurs that are doing something really innovative is people get jazzed up about what they're doing. Like, whoa, you're going to do a private flight to Mars and let average people go? That's crazy, Elon Musk. Who? Richard Branson. Some of those guys who are talking about that. It just brings you joy to be like, these guys are dreaming a big dream here. This is not like, hey, I want to figure out a way to replace a rocket with a different rocket. They're thinking big. And I think that is intoxicating to us. I think it's what encourages us to find other people. And for me, it's inspiring. And it brings me joy to know that someone's doing in their own world what seems almost impossible to them, but they're finding their way.
I like it when people try to find their way. And I like that thought. I think that's what we're doing inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. So if you are not yet a member, you might want to join us and be a part of a group that is trying to find their way, trying to find that next step, to identify what is it that brings them joy and why is that important to them. It's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades. And then you do have to ask to join because it is a private group that we want to make sure we create the space where people feel comfortable sharing the joy they have, like they will do all summer with their summer of celebration, and share the struggles that they're feeling and feel comfortable that no one is going to question or doubt or whatever, that group is there to be supportive and try to help them figure out how to find their next step. So if you want to join us in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, it's easy to do. With that, unless you have something else you'd like to add, Bob?
I'm good.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today. Please feel free to share why joy matters to you and maybe how you find joy inside the group or in the comments here. And we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. And, one of the things that we have done with people, because they struggle sometimes to find the joy or to figure out what's the next step, or they're so worried about the results that they can't find joy in the action, in the learning. So we're help people inside our Renegade Success Network figure out how to take that next step, how to find and focus on the actions we take, and that one thing that as close to perfect thing, and how can that separate you from all of the other things that were a real struggle? Well, you can join us and hear some further information about the Renegade Success Network. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you soon. Are you struggling to make your vision a reality? Are you stuck and don't know what to do next? Are fear and doubt holding you back? The Renegade Success Network will help you determine the next steps on your pathway. Here is some of what you will get. Create your pathway call to start you on a better path. Unlimited laser solution sessions to keep you from getting stuck. Nurture your network events to build your network with other successful leaders. Monthly Renegade challenges to prepare you for what lies ahead. The Renegade Success Vault, giving you access to videos, tools, and tips on specific topics anytime you need them. And the Renegade Success Network community, an exclusive Facebook group of like-minded renegades, all working towards achieving their goals. You have a choice. Do it yourself and fumble forward slowly and alone. Or join the Renegade Success Network and be part of a community built to help you find your own pathway. Join today at renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Act now and jumpstart your journey on your own pathway to success.